Hey y'all, today we are doing some homemade seasoning blends. Okay, first up we are doing onion soup mix. So I use onion soup mix a lot in my cooking. I use it in crock pot recipes and all the things. So I knew that this was one thing that I wanted to be able to make myself just to save a little bit of money, and I know exactly what's going into my mix. And you can adjust this a little bit if you like some flavors more than others, so win-win for me. Okay, so what I'm putting in here is 1 cup of minced onion flakes, and the majority of the seasonings I'm using, y'all, are just the Walmart brand, so use whatever you want, doesn't have to be expensive. Next thing I'm adding in is a 1/2 cup of this granulated beef bouillon. This makes it taste so good, but do remember that this is salty, so when you get ready to add your salt, you can just kind of adjust it to your taste so you don't end up with a lot salty, I guess. So the next thing I'm adding in is 2 teaspoons of onion powder. Then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and make sure that you're doing garlic powder, not garlic salt. We do a recipe in a minute with garlic salt, but for this one it is garlic powder. Then you're going to add in 2 teaspoons of parsley, and don't worry about trying to write all this down or anything. I'm going to write these out in the description box of the video so you'll have everything. Then you're going to add in here 1 teaspoon of paprika. And then this was an ingredient I wasn't real sure of, but when I was trying to figure out what recipe I wanted to use, every recipe had celery seed in it, so I knew I was going to need to add that. I add 1 teaspoon of that, but the majority of these seasoning blends like this, I just kind of customize it to what I like. So this is what I like. So then I added in a teaspoon of black pepper, and then I mix this up, give it just a little taste, kind of taste the powdery part, and if you need to add salt, add it. If you don't feel like it needs salt, then you certainly don't have to add any extra salt to it. So that's it. You mix it up really, really good, and then we're going to put this in some airtight containers. I'm just using some jars I had around the house, and I'm using this jar funnel. It's so easy. And then you have onion soup mix anytime you need it. Next up, we're going to make some ranch seasoning. This is another seasoning that I use a lot. I obviously use a lot of other seasoning blends in my cooking, but I tried to find the ones I use most frequently, and those are the ones that I put in this video. And I do have some others like taco seasoning that I didn't make in this video, only because I have a big container right now and I'm trying to work through that. But at some point I'll be making my own taco seasoning as well. So, but this is our ranch seasoning. I added in 8 teaspoons of garlic powder, and I'm adding in 4 teaspoons of onion powder. And this recipe, when I came across it, the measurements, I just doubled everything because I knew this was something I was going to use a lot. So I was like, I might as well make a big batch of it now, and that way I'll have it and I won't have to make more in a minute, So I added in 3 teaspoons of parsley, and I'm going to add in 3 teaspoons of this dried dill. I have never really cooked a whole lot with dill, and I used it in a recipe not too long ago in the dill pickle salad recipe, and it is so good, y'all. I don't know why I haven't been using this, so get you some dill if you hadn't ever tried it. So then I'm going to add in 3 heaping teaspoons of chives. Now I like more of an oniony flavor, which is why I did the bigger, heaping teaspoons, but do it to taste however much you like. Then I added in 2 teaspoons of salt. And then the last part of this, we're going to add in a 1/2 cup of buttermilk powder, powdered buttermilk, okay? I got this at Walmart. It's super cheap, y'all, so don't think it's going to cost a lot of money. And then you're just going to dump your 1/2 cup in there. You're going to mix this up really, really good, just like with our other one. And then we're going to put this in a storage container, and we're going to have ranch seasoning anytime we need it. Now, like I said, I use ranch seasoning a lot. Number one, ranch dressing is my favorite dressing, and you can use this as the base of your dressing. Or you can use this in recipes. I use ranch dressing in my taco soup, and when you make like a Mississippi pot roast or whatever, it calls for ranch seasoning. you can use your very own homemade ranch seasoning rather than having to buy the packets. And you know exactly what goes into it, and you know exactly how it's going to taste, and you can adjust that if you like a little more of this flavor or that. Seal it up and you are good to go. So the next seasoning blend that we're going to make is Italian. Now, I don't use this real often, so I made a small batch of this. But if you use a lot more of this, then you certainly can make a bigger batch. I'm going to put all the measurements down in the description box for y'all. All the recipes will be down there. So for this one, what I'm using is 2 tablespoons of oregano. And then I am going to use, now in this one, we are using garlic salt, okay? So we're going to do a tablespoon of garlic salt. Then we're going to do a tablespoon of sugar. And then we're going to add a tablespoon of onion powder. And like I said, you can half this, double it, triple it, whatever you need to do for the amount that you need. We're going to add a tablespoon of parsley flakes. And I just had about that much left in there, so I just dumped it in there. And then you're going to add in a teaspoon of black pepper. And then I add just a little sprinkling of just some regular old Italian seasoning. I just kind of sprinkle that in there just to get that little bit of extra taste, you know, just in case I needed it. So I just mix it up really, really good. And I had a little tiny jar, and I put this in my little bitty jar, and then I just stick it over to the side, put it in my cabinet, in my pantry, in my spice cabinet, whatever you have. And then that way you have Italian dressing seasoning mix anytime you want to. You can make Italian dressing, or you can just use this in recipes, whatever you would need those flavors for. Okay? So last but certainly not least, I'm going to add in my rib rub. Now I know you've seen both of my rib videos have this recipe in there, but I wanted to add it here so it's all in one place. So I'm adding in here a cup, 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of onion powder. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of garlic powder. And then we're going to add in 2 tablespoons of Tony's Creole seasoning. You can use whatever kind of Creole seasoning you like. This just gives it a yummy little kick. But it's not super spicy, so don't worry about that. Then you're going to add in 3 teaspoons of black pepper. And we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of salt. And then we're going to add 5 teaspoons of paprika. I know that seems like a lot, but trust me. And if you have the smoked paprika, that would be really good too, but all I had was regular. So 5 teaspoons of that. Then you're going to add in a 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, and we're going to add last of all a 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. And that's it. That is my rib rub. If you need a good rib rub, I say this in my other videos too. If you need a good rib rub, you need to try this one because it is delicious. And it makes a good bit. So this, what I make in this amount, is not, you're going to have leftover. If you're just making like 2 slabs of ribs or something, you'll have plenty left over. So like I said, I will make sure that all of the recipes are down in the description box for y'all, and I will link any videos where I have used these seasonings before, and that way you'll have an idea of when you can use these kinds of seasonings, okay? But y'all, if you need some good seasoning blends, I'm telling you, check these out. All right, that is all I've got for y'all today, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.